In this tutorial, I will just be going through the very basics of how to just get right into Fusion 360 and make your own first part. Before we go into Fusion 360, I just want to get into right here in Paint. What are the fundamentals of CAD? How do we make these 3D objects, and how do we make 3D objects using 2D objects, right? So, as all of you may know, just from messing around in Paint, it's pretty easy to just draw a 2D object on a computer, right? It's just, you got some lines, put them together, now you've got a shape, 2D object. Now, how would you make this 2D object a 3D object? Well, just give it a third dimension, right? Now, this shape has 3 dimensions to it, right? So there's a 2 here. This dimension could be 1 inch. This dimension could also be 1 inch. That's 2 inches. 1 inch. So now we've got the 2 dimensions that make this 2D shape. But, as we saw before, to make this 3D, all we did was straight up just add a third dimension. Maybe this is 6 inches. Right? All the 3D object is just a 2D object that has been stretched along another dimension. That is all you are doing in CAD. Is as simple as that. Once you'll see this in action, you'll understand it, and you can pretty much pick up any CAD software very quickly, very easily. So, here we are now in Fusion 360. Once you've opened it up, you'll see a screen similar to this. How we start off doing this design and getting your first fully owned designed 3D part. All you gotta do is start, as I was talking before, make a 2D object. So what you do, you go up here and you click create a sketch, right? All this is doing is creating a plane for you that you can draw a 2D shapes on, and that is what we're gonna do. Once you click create a sketch, it's gonna ask you to click a plane that you want to draw the sketch on. 3D space, as you may have figured, is in 3 different planes. So just pick one. I'm gonna pick this one right here. Once you pick that plane, it brings you onto this kind of like a working drawing workspace here. It's like got a grid with different values of dimensions and all that. One rule of thumb is always draw all your shapes centered right down here. Makes your life a lot easier later on in the line when you're trying to do mirrors and all more complicated things in the future. So today, how we're going to start this off, we're going to make a pencil holder. To do that, what you may think, we're just going to make a rectangle. Rectangular prism as shown before in the paint drawing. To do that, all you got to do, you come up here, you click the rectangle tool, just make a rectangle. Don't worry about size, don't worry about dimensions, just make a rectangle. Now, in sketches, you might see these blue lines. Blue lines mean these lines are unconstrained, meaning that if I go and click any of these lines, I can drag and change the dimensions however I like. They're not locked in place, they can be however I want them. But instead of just dragging them into the shape that you want, we want to be a little bit more precise. So we're going to go up here and we're going to click the sketch dimension tool. All this does is you click on a line and you can set the sizes of all these lines. Right? So now we've got a 1x1 square. As I was mentioning before, it's good practice to center them. So half of 1 inch is half an inch. So now all the lines are black, meaning everything's constrained. I can't move anything around. And everything is good. Once you are happy with your sketch, all you gotta do is click finish sketch and you're done. Now, what you have here is a 2D sketch in a 3D space. All I'm doing here to move stuff around is clicking middle click to drag, shift and middle click is to rotate. As I mentioned before, all CAD is just getting 2D shapes and extruding them outwards into 3D shapes. So to make your 2D shape a 3D shape, all you gotta do is come up here. You got a multitude of tools to use. Is the revolve tool, the extrude tool. All we're going to be focused on is extrusions, because what extrusions do, it lets you click on the face that you made before and then just stretch it out into a 3D space. This target dimension, let's just go with 6 inches, so that's the size of a pen, so 6 inches. Now what we have here is just a bar that is 6 inches long. If you 3D printed this, you would just have a bar of plastic to be 6 inches long. Nothing that you would really do with this, so what we got to do now is make like a groove for the pen to sit in. Same idea as before, we're just going to make a sketch again. Except now, you have more faces that you can sketch on. So instead of these origin faces from before, you can just sketch on the very end of your piece. So I'm going to click this end right here. Now, if you think of a pen, the pen is going to tends to be like a circle, tends to be like that, and sits in the thing right here. So there's two ways we can do this. We can either make just a triangular thing like this and cut that out from the piece, so you just get that line, cut that out. Or we can make it follow the pen and make it a rounded shape. I'm going to go with triangle. I think it's a little sharper, a little bit cleaner. You can do however you like it. This is your piece. That's the whole idea of this, is that you're making your own design. Once you're happy with this, click Finish Sketch. I'm just going to dimension it out, just for the sake that we don't have these blue lines. It's good practice to have. There we go. All the lines are black, everything's dimensioned, everything's good to go. So now we've come to the screen, we've got the 3D object again, we got this shape. Now we just want to cut it out. Same idea as before, you go back here, click Extrude, click the thing that you want to extrude. It's this triangle that we've made right here. But we don't want to extrude it out this way, we want to actually cut. So what we can do here is just click Cut, and you can bring it out. So logically, you would just say cut to 6 inches, right? That makes sense, totally does make sense. Here we go. But the issue of just setting it to cut to 6 inches is, what if I want to go back? I go back here, I say, you know, I want this to be longer than 6 inches, let's make this 7 inches, right? When I do that, that cut only goes to 6 inches, so it'll be a stop right over there. We don't want that, so we're going to go back, to this cut, edit, and over here it says extent type. Instead of distance, we can just set it to all. So it'll just cut infinitely in that direction. And if we went back and we say, you know what, I want this 7 inches long, it allows you to just go and create that cut as long as you need to. So once we have this, this works. It's a pen holder. You can put it on your desk, you put a pen on it. Very, very, very simple design, but it is yours. But let's say maybe you forget this is a pen holder. It's kind of just a square with a triangle kind of to it. Pretty easy to forget. So one way you can do this is create another sketch right on the side here and just write the word pen on it. So we go back here, we click all these different shapes you can do, we click create to expand this options more, click text, and we just want to do a text box right here. Gives you many options here, what font you want, how big it is, all of that. I'm going to go with Times New Roman, because Times New Roman pens feel very Times New Roman-y. It's very official. There we go. And I'm going to make the height, let's say half an inch. I'm going to say pen. Right, you know what, let's make it a little bit bigger. Right, go back to it. I'm going to italicize it to make it even fancier, because pens are just that fancy. And there you go. Once I'm happy with the sketch, I'm going to finish sketch. Same idea as before, we've got this 2D sketch here. I want to make it 3D. So I am going to click extrude. I am going to make sure I click this sketch, and I'm just going to bring it out. Just 100th out. There we go. And that's all there is to it. This is a very simple process, very easy to do. Anyone can CAD. Anyone, you don't have to be an engineer, you don't have to be a professional drafter. Anyone can design their own pieces to be 3D printed. Once you're at this point and you have the model that you want, and you want to go and 3D print this model, all you got to do is come up here, make sure you save it, name it what you want it to be, tutorial piece, right, put it where you want it to be. I want it to be in a tutorial, save. Once it is saved, you want to go here and click export, name it what you want it to be. It's a tutorial piece for me. And then the very important part, type. If you've done 3D prints before, you know that slices and all that accept STL files, so that's what we want. Click export. And if Fusion 360 is going to go and convert your file into a STL file, once it is finished, it will notify you, and that's all you got to do.